Hey, welcome into this edition of the GASOCast, episode 3 of the Young 23 and 24 basketball season. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing good.
Just another week, another big weekend.
Another big weekend. A little house cleaning. Make sure you tuned in to Blue and I's A Cup of Hoops this week, sponsored by Synergy. We talk a lot of players. We talk a lot of Houston. Really, really good. If you want a well-rounded view of this state, Houston is a big part of it, and they got a lot of players. The GASO Fast break, we just finishing our filming our GASO Extra. We have MVPs, etc. You will be covered from all of our contributors here at GASO around the state. We drop team rankings every Thursday on social media and the GASO Fast break. A couple things. GASO Next Gen, March 3rd, 2024. We are seeing a lot of contribution from a lot of the players that were there last year. It's really cool to see some freshmen and sophomores really contributing on their varsity group.
Absolutely. The link is up on our website. You'll be seeing more promo stuff on social media. I've gotten some firm commitments from some of the top 2026s and 27s, and we're starting to see names fill up the sign-up sheet. So it's going to be an exciting time. And unfortunately, as much as we like the high school season, we know March is going to be here before we even know it with how quick this season flies. So,
no doubt. And lastly, follow us. Make sure you're following us. I'm at GASO Mass. We got GASO Blue. I Film Hoopers on Twitter. We are going to be all over the place this weekend, again, covering the state. All right.
Yep.
Segment. I like what I see. Talking about teams that we have just caught our eye in one way, shape, or form, and we see that they're going up and to the right. Michael, who you got for us?
Yeah, Keller. I've seen him multiple times this year, and they've taken some losses, but they've all been to really good teams. It's something I look at. The great thing about Keller is each time I go watch them play, there's always somebody else that steps up and makes big-time plays. I think the first time it was Cooper Guerrera. I always talk about Steven Ramirez. This last time at the Hoop Fest, Alex Peterson was going crazy for them. And they had the luxury, I don't know if it's a luxury, obviously, in that program. They're like, we want this guy back bad. But Brooks Barr continues to heal up from his injury. But I think this Keller team, individually, these players are taking on more of a role, figuring out their individual identities. And they're just going to be one of those tough teams when playoff time comes around to really game plan and prepare for it, because they can really kill you in a lot of different ways. So Keller, I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I'll jump over to Katie Jordan. I think that they were very early on, a team that we, even last year, Mass, you spotted them. They're well coached with Charlie Jones leading that team. Their two guards, and Elijah Black and Jaden Holt. You keep mentioning something that we've talked about, is that speed is a skill. And those two guards have a lot of speed, especially Jaden Holt. So he's able to get out and just run the offense, get set up his teammates, because what he's doing is he's not just hitting Elijah Black, he's getting everybody involved, which really makes that group a whole. And they've won game after game, and they're just kind of quietly going about their season. But district's right around the corner, and even people in their district, even though Cinco Ranch is sitting up there like 10-1 or 9-1 this year, people are aware of what Katie Jordan's doing.
Absolutely. I'll hop in here with Denton Ryan, a complete turnaround from last year. I watched them twice last weekend, and I was just very impressed. It didn't seem like they just had it. Like nothing was going their way. Couldn't make shots. It felt like they didn't get the calls that they were looking for, but they just kept fighting. And they beat a couple of really good teams, with the last one with the heroics of Scotty Johnson with a 14-foot hook shot. But that's going to be a player in 7-5A. And 7-5A, be ready. Michael, I see you have another 7-5A team down here, and it's going to make for some fireworks. But Denton Ryan, much improved, really athletic, really tough. If you don't match their intensity, you're going to get beat. Period, end of story. I like what I see.
Yeah, before I go to that other 7-5A team, I'm going to talk about the Colony. And we're right in the time where I remember going back to when Richardson's sophomores, Rylan and Kaysen, the question was, are they ready now to really compete for real? And that's where I'm looking at this Colony team. They have so much to offer. Bryce Dixon is one of those just do everything guys that impacts winning at the highest level. You look at Dakari Spear, who roll the ball out to him Monday through Sunday, and he can go get you any type of bucket you crave. Um, um, Xavier Green, I talked about him on our Gaso Extra. He's the closer for this team, making big time shots down the stretch, just that guy. And then Thor Grisham, I mean, you need shooting from the perimeter, and he brings that to you. So there's a lot of pieces I like from this Colony High School team that makes me feel like they're in the mix this year, and they're not too young.
Allen, I mean, where I don't know where to start with this team. They have size, they have quickness, they have ball handlers. They have a lot of. You might look at their lineup when you're watching, like, man, there's a lot of ball, a lot of mouse to feed out there. But however, they play well together. And so someone like DeAndre Thomas, who was on the team last year, but now is getting his chance to play valuable minutes as a starter, about 6'7", 6'8", cleaning the board, scoring around the basket. Caden Myers is back for his senior year, leading the way for the guards. I mean, there's just a lot of different pieces on this team, and they made a deep run at the Texas Invitational, which is always a good sign.
Look forward to seeing them this weekend at Spring Creek. Hope to make one of their games. I'm going to go with Lake Dallas, a little off the beaten path. Haven't had major success there in a while, and Coach Miller just doing what Coach Miller does. Everywhere he goes, they win. They got a lot of pieces, and they just shoot the ball really well. They push Westlake to the brink. I watched them push Coppell to the brink. Just another 7-5A team that might have something to say in some of these games.
Yeah, for me, Fort Worth Eastern Hills, you beat North Crowley. That tells you that you can play with anybody. And I'm curious to see there's a matchup in the playoffs that I'm very curious to see, and we'll just leave it at that. But I think early on when you're looking for that, are we for real? Are we ready? Another sophomore-led team. You beat a North Crowley team, and you're going to have some confidence that's going to propel you throughout the season.
Yeah, Alvin Shadow Creek, the one thing that comes to mind very quickly is that they play hard. They are always lined up in their positions. They know who they're guarding. You see multiple guys hitting the glass for rebounds. David President has done a great job of just taking this team and leading them on the sideline. And yes, of course, they're led by Mike Collins, but also Caden Tate from their 4-5 swing guy. I mean, he's inside battling, getting rebounds, and they just have a really strong core of guys that just simply go out and play hard.
I'll hop on to San Antonio Harlan. They really, really impressed me this weekend. Another team that I just feel like, excuse me, didn't have it. Not all things were firing for them. They got off to a hole in both games that I watched them, and they fought and fought and fought. Led by Kalen Hargrave, Knowledge Carter, Josiah Jones, and then Zaki Thompson, who I talked about in some show that we did. I'm a big fan. I probably did it in the newsletter, but Zaki is really, really good. I tweeted about him twice. This team just fought, and I felt like a couple years ago we saw a Harlan group that didn't quite get over the hump of some of their expectations, and I feel like this year it's the opposite. They're being slept on, and they're getting over the hump. They're fighting through adversity. They're finding ways to win. I know they got a date with Brennan here coming up. I'm really interested to see how they fare.
Absolutely. And before we move on to our next segment, Blue, do you want to update the people on what's going on in your house? So they're like, what is this noise that keeps popping up in the back?
There's people are putting got some workers in here that are going to do some painting. So you hear this ripping. It's just a ripping of paper.
Moving into our next segment. Oh, go ahead. You want to take it? Take it.
No, I was just saying Blue always seems like he's upgrading the house over there, so life's good for him. No. All right, so next segment here, teams that got a chance. These are teams that aren't traditionally talked about maybe this early in the year or just in years past. So I'll start. San Antonio J. They were on our radar during TABC. TABC gave them some really good matchups, and they rose to the occasion. And they continue to play some good basketball. Cameron Garza is turning into a star. Zachariah Linson's a stock riser at 6'6", that rangy wing you're looking for. And then Elijah Baldwin inside. When you're talking about San Antonio hoops, Jay hasn't been a name on the radar in quite some time, but they're for real. And they're playing some really good basketball to start the season. So San Antonio Jay, they got a chance.
I think this is becoming one of our favorites just in general, El Paso Chapin. I mean, Mike, you can jump on in here too, but, just Jaden Leverett and what he has accomplished and how good he's becoming, he's going to be the catalyst of that team. They're going to have to go through him in order to win big games. And I think that we have seen early on how that offense goes through Jaden, and that he's going to make the most of it. He's a really great passer too. So if he feels that he's in any danger, he passes the ball out, and the offense just keeps going. I mean, Brandon Himes, I saw him go for about 18 to 20 points in a game. So their ball play, their guard play is very strong, and they're able to get the ball out and run. Because Jaden Everett's not slowing them down. He's the one leading the pack, and so Coach Lewis on the sideline has to be fired up about that Region 1. Any matchup that he wants, I think that he's going to be ready to take.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see them this weekend at Spring Creek. They have to beat Crandall. If they beat Crandall, they'll potentially play South Grand Prairie. If they beat South Grand Prairie, just like it's brutal. Like if they go win that tournament, it will be like, holy smokes. Not just they got a chance. It's like maybe they're in the driver's seat of 5A. My team that's got a chance, the Woodlands College Park. They are deep. Ian Inman is a game breaker, can score in a multitude of ways. Aiden Buckman, little guard, makes plays. Tyson Forrest, a freshman who plays like a senior. And then Martez James. We got to see, Blue, the addition of Martez James this weekend because he didn't play at the season opener. World of difference. Having that interior presence really is kind of the cherry on top, the chef's kiss, as you will, Mike. And you like that. But the Woodlands College Park, they got a chance. They're interesting. And if you get an opportunity to see them, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Really well-balanced group with a lot to like.
Yeah, so for me, we're going back to that gauntlet of a district, 7-5A. And I'm going to talk Argyle here. A lot to like about this team. You look at Cash Polk right away. I mean, legit 6'9". He's a freak. Some of the highlights I'm seeing, he's finishing over the rim, rebounding at a high place. Jason Dempster is kind of that senior that I always look at different teams. Like, what do you do to impact winning when you're a senior? And it's a lot of the no-nonsense, finishing at the rim, the toughness, the physicality. But then I'm looking at their guard play. They bring in Gerald Burris, who's just been a big-time asset for that Argyle program, able to break down defenders from the dribble, get into the paint, make plays that I don't think this Argyle team's had in quite some time. You're looking at Ryder Smithers, who's hitting the three at a high clip, and then Jonathan Lungini, another sophomore guard that gives them that kind of it factor and that athleticism on the perimeter for them. So this Argyle team, along with a handful of others, that 7-5A district is it's going to be a mess. And whoever comes out of it makes the playoffs is going to be better for it, and they're going to be tough to beat in the playoffs.
You might think this is kind of obvious. Booker T. Washington out of Houston. However, besides Houston, who's talking about them? It's the eye appeal and the buzz that goes around family feud.
Family Feud.
Yeah. Family Feud. South Oak Cliff Faith Family. There you go. And then no, they like to go by. Look, let me finish. So Dallas Carter, Faith Family, those are always the ones that are at the top. But Booker T, they're just going about their business there in 4A. And you look at Chris McDermott. How many 20 and 20 games is he going to go for in his career? I would love to know the stat breakdown of that guy since he was a freshman. And then you have Otis Carter, who's this little jitterbugs that gets the ball out and gets going. I mean, they're one of those 4A teams. You can go and look at everybody's 4A record, but they're out there with others, Silsby and the other two that we've already talked about. They're playing 6As and 5As, and they're going out and beating 6As and 5As. So right here, they're the leader.
I'm going to wrap us up here with Beaumont Westbrook, and we've talked about Ashton Simmons. Like, I don't need to go into why I really like him. But it's Terry Satcher. It's the shooting ability of having him off the ball and being consistent, knocking down shots. And it's Elijah Garrett playmaking, and it's Keon Irvin defending. This team, very subtle. They're not so subtle in their district. Obviously, Atascocita, Summer Creek, Beaumont United, all very aware of how good Westbrook is. But it's a team that, makes the playoffs, wins a game, wins another game, and you're going to look up and you're going to, I have to go against that. They're really dynamic. It's a team they deserve mention, and I'm really interested. We got Texan Live, and I'm going to watch that district all the time. And I'm just really interested to see how it shakes out. And I think they got a chance. They're not going to be afraid of any of those brass at the top of that district or in that region. So you got to consider them. That's going to wrap this edition of the GASOcast up. Like I said earlier, make sure you're following us. We're giving away tons of free content. Who's playing well? If you're at work, you can just follow us, turn on notifications, and find out who's playing well where all over the state. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.